This week, we welcome someone who focuses our attention on how the world truly hears us. A lover of music in the 90s, she has discovered a passion for performance, discovering the singing talents that brought a new expression into her life. But in the late 90s, however, she lost something, her voice. And without this expression, she felt deflated, unable to feel herself. So she sought to heal herself and found a vocal coach, helping her regain her voice in a matter of weeks. Able to see how removing the barriers could reveal the baritone, she trained up as a vocal coach herself, focusing on helping performers of stage and screen, speakers and singers to discover that true potential in their own voice. And motivated by this transformation by her many clients, she takes great pride and passion in helping others to be heard as they want to be heard. Waxing lyrical and not taxing on lyrics, we bring to you Gemma Milburn. Good morning, Gemma.
Hurrah!
I'd love to have a copy of that. That was absolutely brilliant. Possibly the best introduction I've ever had. And maybe the
Richard always does excellent introductions. Richard always does excellent introductions.
Yeah, that was honestly fun. You should write speeches. I don't know what you do, but apart from the dogs, but yeah, you should do like wedding speeches or something. It was amazing. And possibly the only time in my life where I haven't felt weird about being stalked online. So thank you for that. It was so great. I also feel like now I don't need to tell you anything about myself because that was better than anything I could have said. Thank you all for having me today. I'm already having a brilliant time. I have to say I'm already feeling like this is a much friendlier and warmer networking group than many that I've been to. So you've all made a great impression already. What a nice way to start the week. So as you already know, my name is Gemma Milburn. I'm a vocal coach. My business has two main branches. So I started off by working with singers. I've done that for about 13 years as I was a singer. Still am a singer, shouldn't say was, still am definitely. I train singers who are struggling with their technique. So singers who have problems with hoarseness, loss of range, lack of confidence, and things like that, struggling with their stamina. Sometimes they are coming back from a vocal injury, and sometimes they've just had a break. So those are my favorite kind of clients to work with. I've more recently started working with people on their speaking voices, and I provide what I call vocal fitness training to people who use their speaking voices at work. So that includes people like lawyers, salespeople, teachers, coaches, trainers, therapists, and more. I'm not going to make any of you sing today, so don't worry. Unless you, although I'll get the impression with this group you'd be up for it, but that's not part of the plan. So if you want to sing, go for it. But I'm going to talk to you more about the vocal fitness side of things that I do. So why is vocal fitness important? There was a study done in recent years that found that 82% of people who use their voice at work have had a voice problem at some point in their career, which is obviously a huge number. And that's something that I can relate to on a personal level. So I need to say this bit because Richard's already said it, but I've been singing since I was about 3. And at uni, I had a really bad experience, not because of the uni, but because of the rigorous schedule of rehearsals and performances, and being 20 and being a student and the lifestyle of that not mixing, and the lack of guidance around how to, drinking, staying up late, Domino's pizza, and I'm not even that wild, but and then getting up and then singing all day and having no guidance as to how to look after my voice. Didn't even know how to warm up. I had a singing teacher and she was great, but there wasn't an emphasis on vocal health within the context of just how much we were using our voices day in, day out. So I did 3 years of that. at the end of the 3 years, I was really struggling to sing at all. So I quit. And I kind of just decided, well, obviously I'm not very talented. My voice isn't robust enough. I can't do this anymore. I quit, did other things, spent my time differently, but underneath it all was very depressed, because take away a singer's voice and really like you're taking away a key part of their identity. Then I moved to London for a job 4 years later, Googled vocal coaches, found a great one. Very quickly, my voice improved. And I was just so kind of inspired, and also sort of regretful of the fact I spent 4 years not singing, that I went down this rabbit hole of researching voice, figuring out, learning more about it, and then eventually going down more of a vocal health pathway. I've worked with pop and rock singers preparing for tour. I've worked with actors crossing over into musical theatre, and all sorts of different people, all helping them to get their voices ready and strong and fit enough for the busy schedules that they had. The vocal fitness training for speakers is something that I've done more recently, and I got into it because a singing client of mine who's a corporate trainer begged me for about 2 years to help her company. I was very reluctant to do it because I'm so passionate about music and singing that I was like, no, I just do singing, I don't do speaking. She literally arranged a call. She forced me onto a call with her boss. He told me about the problems he was having with his voice. I realized I could help him, and I did help him, and it was great fun and I loved it. So I thought, okay, I guess I'm doing this too. I also found that many of my singing clients they had jobs, so they were telling me that their speaking voices had improved and that they were doing things like getting promotions because they had gained confidence, they were speaking up in meetings, they were doing presentations, and all these things that were happening as an accidental byproduct of our work, that I kind of realized that I was already doing the work, so why not embrace it? So that's more of the side of things that I'm going to talk to you about today. So I'm going to show you a couple of exercises. I think Cindra's asked you all to get a straw if you can. It's okay if you haven't. I'm going to show you alternatives. I can also see that there's some really nice comments in here.
Can this be a straw?
A straw like this or like this might work. Do you know what I'm going to do, Cindra? Because I know you've got, okay, right. So I'll get to it in a minute. So that's not got what we're going to do immediately. So the first thing I'm going to show you all, so how many of you use your voice as like a key tool at work? Yeah, so if you imagine how much your life would change if you suddenly couldn't speak, or couldn't speak much, or couldn't rely on your voice, like it's pretty devastating. So the first thing I'm going to show you all is what I call like a daily voice check-in. It's a really, really simple way of assessing how your voice is on a given day. I compare it to checking your bank balance on a regular basis. It empowers you to make informed decisions about how much you've got to give. So we tend to run into voice problems when we push through difficulties, when we kind of ignore the fact that we're tired and we go past the point of needing a break. So basically, if you can check in with your voice on a daily basis, you can make the adjustments that you need to make sure you don't go over your vocal budget. So it's really simple, and you can all do it. Probably helps if you're on mute, but it doesn't matter. You're just going to count to 10 out loud in your normal speaking voice, like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And ask yourself this question on a scale of 1 to 5. If 1 is the worst your voice has ever felt, and 5 is the best your voice has ever felt, where is it today? And if you could put that in the box, in the chat box, so we can all see where everyone's at, if you feel like sharing it. And combine with that, if you can, some descriptive words for why it is the way it is today. I don't care if you say it's like an elephant today, it's green, it doesn't matter, it's for you, and it's out of 5. So it's 1 is the worst and 5 is the best. So that you can start to tune into what your voice is like on a good day. So if it's a 5, why is it a 5? If it's a 1, why is it a 1? So you can start to notice differences and pick up on things early. So seems like you're all on fine form, which is great. Awesome. So we're going to come back to this afterwards, after I've shown you some exercises, and we may well compare how it feels afterwards. So how many of you have got straws? Awesome. So if you have a straw, these are actually, mine are actually designed for singing, because it's a, what's the word, very popular exercise for singers. You take a straw, something called a semi-occluded vocal tract exercise, which basically means that your mouth is partially closed at one end. It gives your voice an energy boost. And you do what's called a siren. I'm going to show you it without the straw first, so you can see what I'm doing. And it's just a ooh, up and down on an ooh sound. Ooh. You start by staying in a range that feels really easy. Ooh. If that's all you've got, that's all you do. But over the course of repetitions, you're going to extend your interval. So it may become bigger. Ooh. You might explore more of your voice, but you only go where it feels good. So, ooh. Ooh. So if you don't have a straw, you can do an alternative, which is an N. You can do it an N sound, or an like a hum. Just try and make sure there's not an H on it if you do a hum. Just make sure it's an M rather than an H. We've all got such great comments on here. So what I always get people to do, this is what I do when I'm doing my daily warm-up, is I put a timer on my phone for 2 minutes. And that's what I'm going to get you all to do. I'll time it. And we just do about 2 minutes of reps of the straw exercise. So I'm pressing the timer now. It's not about doing as many as you possibly can. It's just about having a vague time frame. About 15 minutes a day is the best, but not in 15-minute blocks. So, and then pause. And I don't even know if you can hear mine very well. I'm going to change my settings. So you've got about 30 seconds left. So you can get a few more reps of the straw. Yeah, and you can do that actually, Gareth. You can just do it on an ooh without the straw. You can do a ooh. Slightly better. It helps a bit. The straw is almost like putting armbands on, gets you in the right kind of motion. Do that, but you can do an N. As long as you're not pushing it too hard. So if you feel like you're squeezing here, then it's totally going against the point of the exercise. Perfect. Okay, so that was 2 minutes. What we're going to do now is we're going to go back to that daily voice check-in. So you're going to count to 10 again, out loud, normal speaking voice. So I'll do mine again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And ask yourself that question again. So on a scale of 1 to 5, if 1 is the worst your voice has ever felt, and 5 is the best your voice has ever felt, how is it now? Has it changed from 2 minutes ago? Is it the same?
4, 5, 6,
and if you can put your numbers in the box, is it better to sit down or stand up? For a warm-up, it's not that big of a deal. I mean, if you were doing it for more than 2 minutes, like if you're doing it for a long time, then standing up generally helps. But for a small vocal exercise, it doesn't matter too much. So Richards has gone up, which is amazing. Jalpas has gone up. Amazing. Weirdly. So it feels more energetic weirdly. I love that. And if you've got any, again, more descriptive words to go along with it. Cindra's still 5, but I feel more dairy within the range. What do you mean?
I feel more bold. I feel when I counted, I went 1, 2, 3 instead of just 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, exactly. So it's giving your voice a bit more flexibility, maybe. And you used a pen cap. So, I mean, that's pretty cool. I didn't know that worked. So good to know.
I think it's similar. I do some vocal warm-ups with my because I teach music. I'm not really a singing teacher, but I teach singing for those who play guitar and want to sing. So I do a similar sirening thing, but we do instead, and that's also a good way to. So I'm kind of used to warming my voice up with a siren, so I know that it gets more playful after that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
What's a siren?
A siren is a sound that goes up and down, sort of like a ooh. It basically sounds like a siren, like an ambulance or a police car.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm a professional percussionist, so this is my vocal warm-up.
Do you warm up your hands?
No.
Hands and wrists?
No.
I used to be in an African drumming group. We had to warm up our hands.
Oh, right. Yes, I suppose. If you're in a cold room, definitely, but under normal conditions, no.
Yeah, that one you're doing is really good backwards. It's also good for people who type a lot, going backwards like that.
There you go.
I have to do that. So it seems like you've all experienced some kind of change or improvement, which is really cool. And if you think about it, that was just 2 minutes doing something for the first time. So the more you repeat that, the more familiar you get with your voice, the more likely you're going to get a benefit from that. I'll show you another way of doing it. So this is called a vocal tube. It's like a more therapeutic version of the straw exercise. So this is something that speech and language therapists give to people with particularly tired voices, voice disorders, people recovering from nodules and things like that. And also as singers, we use it too. It's my favorite exercise for tired voices. You can do it with a normal straw. Mine are a bit too small for that. Mine are specifically like really super thin straws. I don't know if you can see them. So I use the vocal tube instead. It's a big piece of silicone, basically. You put it in some water, and I don't know if you'll hear this particularly, but and you use the water and the pressure of the bubbles kind of to give you a bit more support and a bit more feedback. And it's like the straw exercise times a million. So if any of you have got a bottle and a straw at home, I suggest you try it. Or if you have a day where you have to work and you have to talk and your voice is feeling tired, or even if you've got a bit of a cold, it won't stop you having a cold, but it will give your voice a bit of a massage. The kazoo actually has a really similar effect. So I can't play the kazoo. So if you can, you're like, you're ahead of me.
You can't play the kazoo?
Well, I haven't done it for a long time. I haven't tried. But when I was a kid, I used to find it really hard. But I wonder if it's, I should try again, shouldn't I?
What?
Yeah. So I don't know how we are for time. I can show you some more exercises, or I can hand it back over to whoever. Okay. Right. Amazing. So I'm going to show you my favorite self-massage exercises. So for the voice. So this one is, do any of you ever feel achiness or tension in your neck and throat whilst you're, when you're singing or speaking or after a hard day's work? Sometimes you'll feel it and you won't even know that it's affecting your voice, because the way we sit at our desks and the way we do everyday life things can actually have a real impact on it. So if you get your hand like this, cross them over, and then put them on your chest. And I'm going to say before we go any further, anything that I ask you to do, if it hurts, don't do it. So it shouldn't hurt, but if it does, don't do it. Right, I'm not forcing you into anything. Just kind of go with what feels good. So you're going to press in gently and down gently, just slightly, just to create a little bit of pressure. And then you're going to look up with your mouth closed. This is hopefully going to give you a bit of a stretch in your neck.
So I'm being distracted by canines.
They are very distracting. Mine's in the other room. And I say stay there for about 5 seconds and then come out of it and repeat a couple of times. Who feels it in their neck? This is like my absolute favorite. I do this all the time because it just feels so good. And then the next thing we're going to do is a tongue massage, which may not be what you expect it to be. So the tongue is actually a really big muscle. We only ever see this bit, but it's very thick and it's very long, and it's actually, there's a part of it here that is extremely strong. And when we speak a lot or sing a lot, our the root of our tongue, which is this bit here, tends to get tired and quite tense. So we on a regular basis we do tongue massages and tongue exercises to help release it. So if you get your index finger like this, hook it on your chin, and then get your thumb underneath and find the squishy bit underneath your chin. So if you're struggling to find the squishy bit, go forward to the bone and then walk it backwards a little bit until you find the squishy bit. Give it a wiggle. Some of you might find this bit is hard and some people find it really squishy. Does anyone feel like theirs is really hard? That's good. Right. And then what you're going to do is just give it a little gentle wiggle for about 30 seconds. It's really important you stay in the place that I showed you. That's why we hook the finger on the front, because there are glands either side. We don't want to go to the glands. We want to literally just go to this squishy bit underneath the chin. And this might make you salivate a little bit. It has that effect. I don't know if anyone feels like their mouth is filling with saliva, but it's a normal, what's the word, side effect of this massage. Okay. And just to finish off, we're going to go back to your check-in. So counting to 10 one more time out loud in your normal speaking voice. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then assess it on that scale of 1 to 5, one final time. So 1 is the worst your voice has ever felt. 5 is the best your voice has ever felt. How does it feel now? Mine has gone up just from doing this tongue massage. Wow, we've got some 5s. That is pretty cool. My voice is almost never a 5, so that is very, very cool.
Is that 5 out of 10?
5 out of 5.
Oh.
So 1 is the worst your voice has ever felt. 5 is the best it's ever felt. Yay. So whose voice has gone up from the original number? Amazing.
Yeah, I think yeah.
Cool. So the most important thing, if you take anything away from that, is check in with your voice on a regular basis so you know what is normal for it. And then you've got a few tools. If nothing else, get the straw. And this is something you can use to warm up your voice before you do any speaking for the day, or if your voice is feeling tired on a bad day, you can use it as an intervention to step in and do a couple of minutes vocal exercises to sort of give your voice a massage and reset it to be used again.